The topic of a narcissist and empath came up this morning, and it's prompted me to want to do a video for a couple of reasons. One, because I want to see if my outlook on this changes in the future. It'd be interesting to watch it back. And two, just to share basically what I've sort of come across so far in this journey in regards to these two polarities. And so I use the word polarity. No, I'm not at a jail. There's a football game starting, if you can hear that siren. I use the word polarity, and it's because they're polar opposites, right? This, hardcore empath and hardcore narcissist. And I've said in a video a while back now that I sort of view life as a movie. And when I say that, I mean it as in, if you think about your situation, if you want to adapt to see what I mean, and picture yourself as the main character in your movie, okay? And technically, you're the only character. Well, you're the only real character. Everybody else around you are characters that are programmed and written in by you, by your subconscious. And they're in this movie with you to show you or to allow you to uncover the truth of who you are. And so basically, as you're going through this movie, the characters that you have written in subconsciously, and I guess you can view, when I say you, as you could view that as consciousness, as God, as whatever, the true self. So all of these characters you've written in subconscious, from your subconscious, to show you something, to present something to you. And what they are doing is teaching, because life ultimately is the teacher. So they're teaching you over and over again until you understand the teaching. And so this can be extremely apparent in many ways, more so some than others. And now with this whole empath narcissist thing that's around, to me, is a massive one of these teachings. Now, somebody being a sensitive person, there's nothing wrong with that. However, what I sort of feel is the ultimate goal is to get to that balance point where you do have compassion, you are sensitive, well, to an extent, but also you don't let people walk all over you. So you've got boundaries, you've got self-worth, you've got all of those things that people are equal, basically. So if you're getting treated less than equal, that means there's something inside that feels less than equal. So the way I view it is, if an empath is being, let's say, targeted by a narcissist repetitively, taking away the victim, as in the character as you, taking away the victim and the perpetrator is massive. And so seeing the perpetrator is actually somebody that you have programmed through your subconscious to show you and to teach you something makes a huge difference, in my opinion. Because, and I'm not saying, just allow them to be who they are then. And I mean, I understand this is not, in the non-dual sense, it'd be like the choosing, but just hear me out. So I'm not saying to condone somebody being horrible to you. I'm more so saying that in your movie, these characters are going to continue to get programmed by your subconscious to show you what you're needing to see until you see it. And, you know, it's very, very, the biggest key, I think, in this, because it can be very, very painful for somebody that has gone through this situation, and I understand. So the ability to remove yourself and become the witness for a minute is very, very important. And seeing the perpetrator, the narcissist, as a program, a non-playing character that has been programmed by you to point something out to you. Now, if you're in this situation, adapt that to your situation, if possible. If this makes you feel uncomfortable, then you definitely need to do it. Adapt that to your current situation or past situation, and then see if that was the case, what was being told to you? What was the teaching? What was the lesson? Because there's so many lessons within this massive polarity situation. Again, when we want to blame somebody else, we are victim. Okay? And so there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's the polarity, it's the victim-perpetrator mentality, right? However, if you can remove that and step back as the witnesser, as the no self, and view the situation and go, okay, well, I kind of allowed boundaries to be crossed. I felt I wasn't worth standing up for myself. I felt sorry for them, etc., whatever the reasons are. But there is always a duality within reality. And so the non-duality, in my view, in this specific situation, is the removal of self to be able to see the duality within the situation, and therefore the understanding and the comprehension that it doesn't really exist. There's no separation between you and other. And so the non-duality part is there's only suffering because it feels like there's separation. But ultimately, you are all in the movie, and when your subconscious no longer needs that lesson, when they've learnt, understood, and now are implementing those traits now of coming back to balance in worth, boundaries, etc., the situation should not arise again. It just won't, because you might have something similar to show you how far you've come, but you just would never get to that point again, because it's irrelevant now. You don't need it. So it's very, very interesting for me personally, it's changed a lot, because no longer is there any victim or perpetrator. There is just what is, and then the realization of why it is. And I guess the character of Jodie uncovering what that realization is, if it's difficult to see, or if something's occurring repetitively, or on more and more. So I would love to hear how this feels if you're in this situation, or even if you adapt it to one in the past, because it's a very, very common thing. And, for one thing I've learned is we can't, personally, I don't feel going around and pointing the finger at people being bad people. And I mean, it's not to say that it's condoning anything. That's not the point. It's like how often someone must say a narcissist, no one of their friends would know that they're a narcissist. It's because they're only a narcissist in the polarity match of you in that situation. It's very, very interesting when you go into it, because, we need to be shown, and life is the teacher. It will always show us in one way or another what needs to be known, in my opinion. Yeah, it really helps me. I've found, speaking to people, like, they sort of, it's a certain type of person that can understand this when they're in this situation. Because when you're in victim, it's very, very hard to see that any of it could not be any other way. Sorry. Because it's so intensely real. And that's okay. And even if this video upsets you, that's fine too. But have it in the back of your mind. Watch it again. Give yourself some time and try to implement it. Just try to see the situation as that and see what happens, or see, if it makes anything feel any different. Because that's what we're all here for. It's all teaching and learning, in my opinion. All right, have a good day.